Silence glowed a bloody red hue and spat out another grand payload of missiles. The battle-weary African military forces girded themselves to resist. Time, being relative, began to ebb, then flow toward the home team now. Congolese troops, tough, black-faced, rock-like people with stone-toned physiques arrived. Their march south had been slowed by swarms of bees, fighter jet, aircraft. Multiple lines of Western Alliance Marines waded ashore like a tsunami. The Congolese and Namibians were ordered to meet the Marines and resist their advance. They were sternly commanded, "Die if you must, but they cannot be permitted to establish a presence on Empire of Africa soil." Legality. In Cape Town, the First Empress sat herself down in a secure broadcasting studio before web-based optic string image conveyors. She dressed in black, with solemn diamonds studded upon her dress, a velvet stylishly haute couture piece. The First Empress sparkled, her moist eyes and tiny delicate tears globally visible. Now the world, that instant, beheld the Bantamenian princess and knew her beauty alone in and of itself was too rare to be bullied into surrender. The public networks waited for her words. Neighbours, some good, some bad, but all neighbours. We, the peoples of the newly constituted Imperial Empire of Africa, both human and enhanced, greet you in this solemn moment and extend our good wishes to you and all you love. I am before you to declare a change in the very laws governing this empire, a misguided understanding of the first principle, human preservation, first and foremost before all creatures and creations, has led us to these terrible times. Now, I, Empress Shardhu Shejola the First, declare that from this moment forth, war, and in all its forms, is illegal, and can form no part of the legal constitution of the Imperial Empire of Africa. All forms that war takes in education, culture, symbols, titles, offices, merchandise, media, literature, attire, and even in art is now illegal. The single exception that will exist to warcraft's illegal status will be in the conditions comprising an application to the World Court in Luxembourg. During the passage of an application, through this process, the Imperial Empire of Africa, a home that welcomes both human and enhanced, is permitted to use military force to resist an aggressive enemy only where that aggressive military force occupies or attempts to physically occupy Imperial Empire of Africa territory. This resistance must form part of the application and cannot be undertaken without a lawfully filed application to the World Court. Neighbours, this law is now in effect. This morning an application was submitted. The World Court acknowledged receipt in Luxembourg. This morning an aggressive enemy force attempts to invade the Imperial Empire of Africa. Forces presently being used to resist this aggression in the regions of Southern Africa and Kenya. The law of the sovereign Imperial Empire of Africa is being broken, and a supporting application seeks an immediate declaration of the sovereignty of all African territory and to declare the actions of the Western Alliance illegal. The Empress looked down. The abundant eyes of the world now followed her eyes and beheld a large pile of documents that contained the new legal basis governing the constitution of the Imperial Empire of Africa, the first sovereign territory on planet Earth to criminalise war and all who import or export it. The streets of Paris proceeded about their day, as always enjoying the finest quality living available. The Parisians, for the most part, hearkened to the words of the First Empress, but did not quite grasp the essence or gist of their import. Along the Champs-Élysées into the presidential palace, Jean-Michel Delacroix, the French premier, met with La Présidente, Jacqueline Bourbon, their scheduled weekly meeting to discuss matters of record across the French Republic and throughout the globe. Both watched the First Empress broadcast address on an iSlab screen. The garden they sat in, with all its attendant French fanciness like style, class and luxury, enjoyed a quite sunny afternoon. Le fleur de lis, extant throughout the garden, exuded a delicate pungent odour for the benefit of its important host and guest. The posh cars outside the palace honked their horns and bellowed out music from across the range of eclectic sounds across the broadcast musical spectrums. Madame la Présidente, la Africana, Shardhu Shejola, cannot expect this statement to make a difference now, can she? Monsieur Delacroix, the First Empress of the Imperial Empire of Africa, is recognized by the international community. This was the reason for our visit to Capitol Hill in November, n'est-ce pas? Is this not true? The fact is, now we are at war, a sovereign territory. We do not dispute this, Monsieur Delacroix. Le Code du Monde dans Luxembourg must declare acts of war against the Imperial Empire of Africa to be illegal and therefore criminal. We cannot stop now. Monsieur le Delacroix, we are, for the larger part, democratic states, we who form the Western Alliance. If we continue, we risk breaking the law and committing a crime. The blood of the African will be upon our conscience. Monsieur Delacroix, we are morally bound by our own Western wisdom to cease immediately or our part in this war before the World Court in Luxembourg declares the actions of the Western Alliance criminal. France will have no part in this. Understood? Mais oui. Yes, but our associates. Vous, Monsieur Delacroix, know who our partners are, correct? They are immediately outside the palace, on the streets along the River Seine, and they represent the ethnic diversity of our planet. What other partners do you speak of now that the actions of the Western Alliance are about to become war crimes? The Americans and the English? If they share our egalitarian spirit and moral virtue, then they will withdraw. But we cannot await their decision before making our decision. Nous sommes Français. We are French. Monsieur Delacroix, officially end our part in this war within the hour. Vous êtes comprendez-moi? Do you understand me? Oui, Madame la Présidente, je suis fait maintenant. Yes, Madam President, I will do it now. The invasion raged, and brave African warriors, faces painted, engaged the troops of the Western Alliance, now streaming upon the coastal towns and villages of southern Africa like a disease, Laser weapons blasted through the grey mist. Flares of bloody warm liquid splashed through the murky, foggy air, their laser beams sinking into their fleshy targets. The Western Alliance Marines, many young, wanted to be brave, were trained to be brave, had promised their mothers, fathers and families that they would be brave, but bravery betrayed them upon sight of blackened faces, laser weapons blasting, leaving bodies broken all over blood-soaked bricks and mortar from the battered and bombed buildings. An hour passed, and as word trickled through that the French had withdrawn support for the war, the French contingent, 500,000 Marines, deployed upon the southern Africa beach, were ordered to instantly cease and retreat. "What?" yelled Admiral Archibald Grandstock, furiously slamming his great hand down upon his oak table. The table willingly relented, splitting into two pieces. His aides stepped back against the walls of the Pentagon office. Admiral, the French have withdrawn their troops from the war, effective as of right away," stammered the petrified officer. "Are you fucking kidding me?" No, Admiral," mumbled the officer, "because this is not funny and I will personally court-martial." Excuse the interruption, Admiral Grandstock. "We have another problem," interrupted the aide. "Spit it out. The enemy strategy has changed, and I have the director of the Central Intelligence Agency, Board Oakwood, on an ice slab in Conference Suite 2 for you. He wants to talk." Admiral Grandstock moved around the ruptured table to the ice slab in Conference Suite 2, tapping the entrance knob with his whole indignant hand. Board Oakwood appeared, looking put upon. "Maybe there is no rest for the wicked," thought the Admiral. "Admiral, how are you?" "Feeling fucked, Board. How can I help?" Right. We have a problem." "No shit. Potentially major. Does it eat frog's legs washed down with vintage champagne?" snarled Admiral Grandstock. "No." "Then I'm all ears. The Imperial bitch has just outlawed war." "That's what that bloody broadcast was about," wondered the Admiral. "Do I need to answer that?" asked Board Oakwood. "No, just thinking aloud." "Puts us in a pickle. If we continue the war, we become war criminals, and the international community turns against us. It being their goddamn duty to protect the sovereignty of peaceful nation states and non-violent communities, don't you know?" "Board, we and the Brits are the international community. We don't agree. The international community can't act." "No, Admiral. Lots of nations out there who will see this as an excellent opportunity to disturb the balance of power." "A freaking renaissance in the international community," protested Admiral Archibald Grandstock. "The world will change in 48 hours once the reality of the Imperial bitch's statement sinks in," answered Board. "Board, I know what you seek, but I'm not the one. Your cozy tryst with that Brit, Lord David de Havilland, will get you over. Bummer. Heard he got canned by Macefield." "Yes, Admiral." "Well, what else can I do for you?" "We cannot stop the invasion just like that. Takes time, you know," the Admiral said breezily. "Clinical abatement, Admiral." "Good luck with that," snapped the Admiral. "Listen, Admiral, you have less than a day." "I'm not stopping. Madam President is busy with a Homeland High Security incident. When Madam President is done and focuses on this, you're done. Understood?" "Got to kill something, Board. I'm a soldier." "Your use-by date, Admiral, is very close. Lord Oakwood disconnected. He desperately needed to speak to Lord David, but knew if he broke protocol, President Cordiana Dale's smile would instantly turn to a growl. After all these years, Lord Oakwood was still not a philosophical type. All in the moment was his motto. All that was needed to solve a problem was created instantly, along with the creation of the problem. Board mulled over all the issues he faced, concluding, the Western Alliance approached a change in basic assumptions which rend the very fundamental basis of the Western Alliance asunder. Board knew he was right. The use-by date approached and approached fast. The First Empress of Africa was on a track that inevitably would raise her status above those of her peers. She had achieved immortality, and being so goddamn beautiful, hence irresistibly attractive to those who mattered, put her practically beyond political chicanery. Thought Board, any war against her now was a sordid affair. He realised that the war had to be stopped. He really needed to speak to Lord David. The Western Alliance Marines fell back along a 500-mile stretch, their backs against the ocean. Losing the French suddenly weakened their battle formation. Captain Montrose ordered his lieutenants to fall back 2 more miles and reform the invasion line, then push forward in 30 minutes. Time was becoming critical. The captain anticipated the Congolese and South Africans would be inspired and push forward. Delay would steal away any advantage, and advantage were the very ground the Western Alliance Marines stood upon. 2 lines consisting of 25,000 Marines were ordered to hold their ground and scorch everything immediately ahead of them until their laser cartridges were utterly spent. The Congolese passed blast-resistant canopies through the thick of the combat, where human heroes irrelevant of allegiance began to pile up in death, heaps here and bloody pools there. The canopies were flipped onto their sides and lined up across the front line of the Congolese, Ethiopian, Namibian and Kenyan troops. They began a slow inching forward, pushing the Western Alliance troops towards the ocean, repelling the blasts coming from the invaders. Congolese troops relieved the South African forward lines, pulling back people completely maddened by war, fighting, constantly fighting, and fighting to the death for Africa. "Come on, get behind here," yelled the Congolese troops at the forefront. Many South African warriors heading back behind gaps in the canopies for protection from the laser fire coming from the line of Western Alliance troops, now woefully exposed as the main bulk of their forces fell back across effectively a 2-mile retreat. "Split the B's formation in 3 and send 1/3 to secure the holding line," ordered Captain Black. "Yes, sir," replied the lieutenant. Above the grey battle field, the mist, replete with black light, splintered. A swarm of bees, 66,000 in total, swooped down behind enemy lines, destroying what could be destroyed as the bees flew to the aid of the securing troops. The morning hours approached, 11 a.m. The invasion was already 1 hour overdue for the time scheduled for completion. Captains Montrose and Black regrouped up on the deck of Silence. The magnificent aircraft carrier glowed a bloody red before spitting forth another payload of missiles into the very heart of South Africa. "Captain Black, resistance is strong this morning. Supplies will not be replenished for another 24 hours until the 256th Fleet is scheduled to join the theatre. The bees must return to refuel and restock with missiles and laser clips." "I see. The troops cannot sustain this beyond another 40 minutes. Admiral Grandstock would like us to continue until the enemy is completely broken and the land is taken. Fucking yank, snapped Captain Montrose. Still a soldier of worth, Captain Black rebuked. Options. We carry 12,000 clones below deck on 6, reported Black. Those are illegal, observed Montrose. Why were we ordered to stock them? Do or die, never why, quoted Montrose. Ah, yes. Can they be controlled? Queried Montrose. They will give us 2 hours, enough time for the Marines to catch their breath, promised Black. The use of clones is an international war crime, and it will breach the Unlawful Body Enhancement Act, objected Montrose. Secure all the reporters and journalists, especially David Jenkins, below on deck 8 before we let them loose, suggested Black. Make sure our Marines are protected, cautioned Captain Montrose. Yes, after 2 hours the clones will kill anything, even each other, said Black. Then drop them into Cape Town, suggested Montrose. Wait, better still. Deploy the Black Hawk helicopters to airlift 4,000 of them into Nigeria. Drop them outside the palace at Abuja. The war will be won in 2 hours that way, vowed Montrose. Decapitation of the great cute snake's head, promised Captain Black. Begin, agreed Montrose. Engagement. The First Empress received reports of the mountain dead, standing before her aides, great counsellors and warriors. She spoke. Africans, beloved Africans, my Africans, your souls to me will always be priceless. Our soil is flowered with our passing kind, both young and old, brave or indifferent. I feel a crushing emotion in my heart, but it is assuaged by the pride of what the passing of our people paid for. They paid for this moment. They paid for us, the remaining heroes. We cannot, in life or death, allow the Western Alliance to establish a presence on our sovereign soil. We will fight bravely. We will fight legally. Focus, my beloved people, just focus and we will be well. As she finished her address, cheering erupted from the rear of the gathering throng, the words becoming increasingly audible. Jomo, Jomo, Jomo. Then like the sun breaking through clouds, the enhanced Jomo appeared. We are here after a miraculous victory won under Kenya's sun. Empress, my beloved Empress, take heart. I am here for you. And as I said before, Empress or otherwise, I care not. Come, kiss me. Jomo Nkrumah Maninga, my darling love, affection out of love is never a crime in the eyes of this Empress. Both met one another like indomitable magnets before the large gathering of African dignitaries, kissing and hugging before the crowd. Jomo, you are here. The First Empress's hand stroked his face. Its warmth raced through her fingertips to the many corners of her biology. Yes, beloved Empress, I have memory of war now, and it is ugly. I have learned that you have passed the law. Yes. The philosophy of instantism will now be set upon the minds of the international community. Empress, though bleak, it seems now from what my enhanced eyes can see, the tide will turn. Jomo, I am beyond belief. I am that which I seek, victory and hope. Empress, I cannot imagine existence without you. Jomo, look around you. We Africans adore you. I can only sacrifice my life here once, but to you, Empress, my love is eternally promised. The enhanced African, looking godlike, fell upon one knee before the Empress and took her hand. Be my wife, Empress, marry me. A remnant of the Bantamenian tribe present that day bowed their heads. They were at war. They were facing defeat. But the Bantamenians knew this quintessential moment placed the very imperial empire of Africa on the verge of immortality. A union between a Bantamenian and one of the Micronet community would make Africa strong. Yes, I, Shardhu Shejola, First Empress of the Imperial Empire of Africa, accept. I will marry you. They kissed as the missiles, bombs and laser beams from the swarm of bees rained down torrentially outside their subterranean shelter. In that special moment, the couple received cheers, loud singing and a momentary celebration. Kenya had triumphed over the Western Alliance's aggression. Now South Africa must stand and prevail. Captain Black, sir, Admiral Grandstock has asked for an immediate audience with you and Captain Montrose. Captain Montrose has already been informed. Both await you in the mess, announced the petty officer. Captain Black wondered, how could Admiral Grandstock assist? He was fast becoming a desk soldier with his pretty eye slab designed by artist Shanai and his cute customised CCC given to the Admiral by his teenage daughter, Sharp Payne. Grandstock only made matters worse, thought the captain. Captain Black, you're here. Yes, Admiral. Good. Captains, our time is brief, so I will get to the point. Today, the First Empress of Africa outlawed war on her sovereign territory. A ruse, suggested Captain Black. Captain Black, ruse or otherwise, its effect is immediately evident on the international community, responded Grandstock. The withdrawal of the French with more allies to follow, said Captain Black. Yes. Yellow is as yellow does, observed Montrose. Now, Captain Montrose, this time they may be smarter than us, said Grandstock. Admiral, so how does this affect us, beyond the obvious? Asked Captain Black. We may be acting illegally in less than 18 hours. Madam President is, we think, preoccupied with a homeland security emergency, and if you were not aware, the last few days have been critical as we are dealing with goddamn traitors in our own backyard. Part and parcel, said Montrose unsympathetically. Normally, I would agree, but this traitor runs the Tapp Consortium, replied the Admiral. Ingrate, added Black. Great minds, right? Remarked the Admiral. So, what are our orders, Admiral? Asked Montrose. Total war, ordered the Admiral. Total war? Repeated Black. Yes, total war. No fucking clinical abatement because there is no time left to purchase. We win now, and we keep what we won well after we are ordered to stop. Won't we be ordered out of what we won? Said Montrose. Technically, yes. But legally, if we are in when we are ordered out, then those who are in what we won when we were ordered out will be in what we already won and will be ordered out of our well-won sovereign soil, explained the Admiral. Admiral? Queried Montrose. Yes, Captain Montrose? You are the smartest soldier I know, effused Montrose. Look at the stripes, soldier, look at the stripes, assured the Admiral. A congealed military smile momentarily pervaded the belligerent group. Captains, if you are averse to the specifics of total war, let me know now. It will not go against you to stand down, declared the Admiral. Captain Montrose received an update on his CCC, a message. The battle in Kenya has been lost. Immediately he thought of Corporal Idril Clark and her fate. He was fond of her. The captain swallowed hard. Admiral Grandstock's attention drifted briefly to the right. His eyes widened and his jaw dropped. The Admiral smoothed his face and turned to the on-screen captains. Captain Black was the last to see the news from Kenya. "How the hell did we lose?" asked the subdued Admiral. "Impossible," said Montrose. "Shit. Now the fucking Kenyan army marches towards South Africa at haste," said the Admiral. "To die," said Black. "There are reports that some may have already arrived," responded Montrose. "Admiral, their leader, Jomo Nkrumah Mninga, went ahead of the main Kenyan vanguard, and intelligence reports that he arrived in Cape Town at 10:15 hours. Disclosed Black. "We are running out of time," replied Montrose. "Clinical abatement?" suggested Black. "Hell no, captains. No, total war," snarled the Admiral. "We have already unleashed the clones," revealed Montrose. "Not all on Cape Town, I trust. Still, not very good news that Jomo Nkrumah Mninga character being there. Board and Lord David warned me about him," said the Admiral. 1/3 of the clone force is expected to reach the Imperial Palace at Abuja in 60 minutes, informed Black. "You've gotten smarter, Captain Black," mused the Admiral. "Total war, sir, total war," responded Black. "Captains, land what you got now on the South African coast. Conquer it, crush it, take it now." "We have 500,000 tanks and 15,000 drone bombers," disclosed Montrose. "Engaged?" asked the Admiral. "No," said Montrose. "Then what are you waiting for?" asked the Admiral. "Your orders," answered Montrose. "Do it now, whilst I am on the screen," ordered the Admiral. "Yes, sir," confirmed Montrose. "Good. This conversation may be used against us, but we are soldiers, and until the Commander-in-Chief orders a withdrawal, we keep fighting," cautioned the Admiral. "Yes, sir," responded Montrose. "Godspeed," replied the Admiral. The ice slab screen went blank, just as silence glowed blood red, once again spewing forth a vomit of missiles toward Cape Town and the other key cities thousands of miles inland. Silence was a monster of war. Resistance. Diana Tapp continued rambling eloquently on. "We, or should I say, I, devised a plan for the Western Alliance to excuse the rigours of my gift, drive their enemies before them. Those lined up outside the very doors of the Tapp mansion forget that it was my assistance that delivered the Middle Eastern Alliance into their hands. I call now upon Method, Sylph, Onyx, Flan, Batog, and all the Micronet community to be here now and aid me. My lineage demands your loyalty. With respect, I demand your attention. I am Diana Tapp, first member of the Micronet community, first enhanced, first victim of the Western Alliance. It was I who preserved the legacy of my father and claimed the children of the Mexican Research Center, a place that carried out experiments clearly in defiance of the Unlawful Body Enhancement Act 2024. It was I who gave a home, a purpose, a future to the Micronet community. I ask now for all your loyalty. Come to me and protect me, the daughter of the man who gave life to the Micronet community. I have decided to resist you, all of you humans. I am the first amongst the enhanced. I am the first citizen of the Micronet community. I reject your world and its systems which can no longer contain me because I exist outside of the human system of life," said Diana. ETA, demanded Madam President. T-minus 3 minutes, replied a slightly breathless Board Oakwood, slithering quickly back to the room. Let me know when it's over, and thank the Brits for the key coordinates so quickly, said the President. Less than 5 minutes passed. The President turned to one of her generals, who happened to be standing next to Board Oakwood. General, is it done? Asked the President. Not yet, Madam President, replied the General. The President shot Board Oakwood a mischievous glance and then said to the President, shot Board Oakwood a mischievous glance and then said to the General, make sure it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. She turned to face Board. Board! Board! Bawled the President. Yes, Madam President. I hear Tony rolled Lord David off the team. She sneered. Huh? Replied Board, looking confused, but he persisted in spite of her dismissive attitude. A tuft of blonde hair randomly flashed up from behind him. Board moved the General to his left to make space. Madam President, our visitor, he said. That can wait. We're busy cleaning house here, snapped the President. Madam President, 30 seconds. This is very beneficial, he insisted. Haven't heard those words from you in a long time, Board, she remarked. Their value just went up, Madam President, he replied. Like it's Board, like it a lot. Okay, 30 seconds, she said with a smile. Board shifted to one side and the blonde hair became a hairstyle, then a face, and then a sexy hot platinum blonde-haired person. One of the aides swallowed audibly. Even Madam President gasped, thinking, that blonde-haired person will need surgery to get that outfit off, or maybe she had surgery to get it on. The fatless former MI6 spy stood alone in the Oval Office, surrounded by the good and great from within the American masterclass. All could see every nook and cranny perfectly accentuated beneath the red all-in-one skin-tight suit that Jessica Stansted Field wore. She proceeded to take charge in the stunned silence. Hello, Cordiana. Heard you're having a bit spot of bother with a bigwig down in Silicon Valley. We prefer the state of had. The President was intrigued. Well, Cordy. They all stared as the President repeated, Cordy? Yeah, Cordy. That's your name, right? Anyway, I know you're a top bird and all that, but my mentor said first rule of espionage, respect your foe. To the point. To the point. Don't get your knickers in a twist, Cordy. We have time. Excuse me? Replied the President. Well, I was in Mexico, a place called Esperanto. Board here knows where. Right, Board? The President stared at Board, who in turn glared at Jessica Stansted Field. She smiled at both. She was beautiful. Both forgot the plot. Jessica took over again. Now, Cordy, Ms. Taljard won't be beat that easily, you know. You mean Ms. Tapp? Haven't you been listening? No, I'm presiding over a goddamn bombing, roared the President. Quaint, Cordy, just quaint. Jessica, please move on. Please move this along. We're about to experience a catastrophe. Cordy, move over. Let her see me. Jesus, Board, this one has a peer. Fine, Blondie, come over here so Miss Taljard, Miss Tapp, or whatever the hell she is called, can see you. Jessica stepped forward to stand alongside the President facing the ice slab. Diana Tapp was on the ice slab, literally talking up a storm. One after the other, then another member of the Micronet community appeared from thin air into the space between the British Special Forces, led by Roland Clark, and the front entrance to Tapp Mansion. The British forces raised their laser rifles, flipping the kill count switch to wipeout. Their rifles pointed towards the appearing enhanced. Most were children still, but the burning desire to live sparkled in their piercing, beautiful eyes. "Stand down, kids," bellowed out Jack. "¿Qué es esta cosa nos enfrente?" remarked one enhanced to another, curiously. "Una forma de vida más bajo," observed an enhanced girl with beautiful eyes. "Stand down," repeated Jack, Clark's second in command. Jack grabbed a handful of Narcissus virus darts and coolly popped them one after the other into the cartridge clip, then slapped it hard with the open inside palm of his left hand. Slap, click, into its keep. "Human, when Diana Tapp loses patience, you I will cause to cease to exist first," said the enhanced girl. "Baby freak, I told you to stand down." No fighting," yelled Ronan Clark, fully aware of the brittle nature of the moment. "The human who escapes passing often has spoken. Take heed and return to your charge," replied the enhanced girl to Jack. Her eyes began to sizzle. "You cheeky shouted Jack, about to discharge his weapons. No, I told you." "No, shh," cried out Ronan Clark. Diana watched the enhanced children face off against the British Special Forces. Turning, she caught a new face, stepping into the other screen. A face previously unseen, but one she recognised from Joe Blood's Black's mind. She'd been searching for that face, her foster father's killer. Diana stopped. "You," she said coldly. Jessica kept her head low but answered. "Me?" she replied. "Yes, you. Who are you?" Jessica raised her blonde head, momentarily considering the beautiful eyes of Diana Talshard enlarged upon the eye slab. "Oh, me. I'm the person who killed Eduardo Tapp, your foster father, right, bitch?" Diana's face spasmed, and the eye slab screen walked in and out of focus. Airily, the capillary nerve on Diana's right eye appeared bright and clearly discernible on the warping eye slab screen. "Don't try it, sister. I have Eduardo's memory, so we know you very well." Unusually, Diana suddenly became speechless. Then, "Madam President, the day's events require a moment's respite. Withdraw efforts of all kinds upon my abode and myself, and I will deliver myself to you without delay, to a place of your choosing." Jessica turned to the President. "There you go, Cordy. All you needed to do was ask." Madam President smiled at Jessica, and smiled again, very wide, this time all her bright white teeth showing. "Bored. That was more than 30 seconds. Madam President, value is in the moment, not the measure of the moment, which is merely a measure by which the moment is recorded and saved as a moment of reference for other similar moments." "My, oh my, Board, you are nervous. At least I know your brain works. Now, where are your manners? We have a guest in the White House." "Madam President?" "Yes, Board?" "She awaits an answer." "Windows, Board, windows, and I don't do them." "Oh, cancel the order to drop it. You take it from here." The President turned away, offering her stately bent arm to Jessica, who extended her red-clad slender arm, linking their arms together. The President smiled at Jessica, and together both walked out the veranda doors into the rose garden. "Let me take you on a tour around my garden. World class, you know. By the way, what did you say your name was?" "I didn't, but Cordy, I don't mind telling you whilst we walk." Madam President giggled. "Order," Diana Tapp sat calmly at a table in a large lecture hall behind a glass screen. The screen looked out onto a beautiful Harvard University lawn, a green scene of trees and roses. The look on her face suggested that she thought the place looked like a cave. The double doors to the lecture room clicked open. Seriously bulky brown, black and white Secret Service agents streamed in. They surrounded Madam President Cordiana Dale, closely followed by Board Oakwood, monitoring the screen of his CCC, as if he was about to ask it to marry him. The Secret Service grabbed a chair and put it on the opposite side of the table, facing Diana. Madam President sat down primly. She remained high-headed and proud, dressed in blaring head of state red with matching designer heels. Board Oakwood took a seat on her left, slightly behind her. "Miss Taljard, I presume," said the President. Diana responded, "Madam President, we all possess multifarious names, and it is still a mark of human liberty that one should be called by the name one chooses. I prefer Miss Diana Tapp. Although our present occasion is formal, you may call me Diana." "I seem to be in a new world," remarked President Dale. "I have never been talked down to in over 25 years, and now twice in 2 days. "You could have simply said, 'Call me Diana,'" replied the President. "And you, Madam President Cordiana Dale, could have addressed me by my known name, not by a name offered to you as barter, which leads conveniently to my next question. Where is she?" Diana focused her gaze on the President's face. "Stop that, Miss Tapp. Entering my mind will not benefit you. Regarding your question, I know nothing. I am the President, the executive mind, not the help. Ask others to disclose facts from memory." "A smart president, it appears," observed Diana. 25 years may be more responsible for that." "And logical," added Diana. "Just common sense. Do you have another request, Miss Tapp?" "Yes, we cannot talk with your entourage here present. Don't worry, I will not seize data from your mind." "Miss Tapp, I am the President of the United States of America. You cannot intimidate me. After all, I do sit here as the premier representative of humanity," replied the President. "It is not my intention to intimidate you," responded Diana. "Well, stop behaving like it is," retorted the President. Both laughed. Each one's brain sensed the humour in the verbal exchange. "Leave me," ordered the President to her entourage. The Secret Service streamed out. Board Oakwood remained seated. Diana gave him a stony stare. "He stays," said the President. "Why? He has no leverage here. He or his counterpart, Lord David de Havilland, unless they are prepared to disclose the location of the real Carl Schlesinger. Well, Mr. Oakwood?" Diana turned. Words spilled out. I think I should leave. Madam President, I will be outside if you need me," replied Board. The President remained silent. Her jaw drifted south delicately. Being a spy master, Board noticed. He knew another nail had just been driven into his career coffin. The door clicked shut behind him as to his retreating form. The President continued. "Miss Tapp, you must not provide Micronet technology to the First Empress." "In reliance upon what legal right can you request this of me?" asked Diana. "You are an American citizen. You swore an oath to this land, to our flag, and an oath of allegiance to our democratic republic, which is physically represented in me." "You are correct. I will listen to you here and now. But, Madam President, I cannot repudiate my agreement with the First Empress. My reputation would be damaged. Even so, this is a moot matter because events have outpaced your systems of intelligence, replied Diana. Riddles, Miss Tapp? Humanity cannot be negotiated into extinction without resistance. Can't you empathize here with me? My predicament is a collective predicament. We cannot allow Micronet technology to take root in African soil. Diana interrupted, and yet it forms the very ruling system of that sovereign territory. More riddles? Miss Tapp, I think we speak at cross purposes. Please come down to my level, a human level. If I were to speak slang to you, that would be rude. How can you speak in riddles over your president? Yes, Miss Tapp, over your president's head, and not think it rude. I must say, Madam President, I wish we had talked back in the time before the end of the fundamentalist wars. Since that time, the administration you preside over has been involved in many episodes of subterfuge which appear to have been sanctioned by you. Sadly, most resulted in great suffering. A leader accepts life and death. I rule over all opposites. I am the centre, responded the President. Now you switch to riddles, remarked Diana. A president second, a woman first. Please call me Cordiana. They both smiled. Cordiana, I will answer any questions you ask. I have nothing to hide from you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So why do you want to destroy humankind? She asked. I don't. We don't, answered Diana. But the war in Africa, pointed out the President. We did not declare or cause war, interrupted Diana. But Micronet technology, probed the President, confused. The Micronet community does not seek the extinction of humankind. We are descended from humankind. There are humans who have chosen to be numbered amongst the Micronet community. The war upon the Empire of Africa is an act of Western Alliance aggression dressed up as a moral imperative. Your advisers, more pointedly Lord Oakwood along with his British counterpart, Lord David de Havilland, presented false positives to you and the other heads of state. Your actions perpetuated the situation toward conflict. Cordiana, consider, even if you were to defeat the Empire of Africa, do you think Lord Oakwood and Lord David would allow you to destroy the Micronet technology industry that is being developed there, or anywhere else they find it? Anywhere else? Asked the President. Diana explained. The Central Intelligence Agency sanctioned the construction of a Micronet Technology Research Center in the middle of the Mexican jungle in 2024. The enhanced assassins, Method and Sylph, as you know them, were the products of the experiments undertaken there. I took possession of the research center 5 years later. The CIA decided to abandon it because of the Unlawful Body Enhancement Act. Why are we at war with the Empire of Africa, and why are we in dispute with you? Cordiana, to be at war with the Empire of Africa is not novel. It is merely official because the First Empress has proven herself indomitable. Look within you to know the truth. I met her when she was a lowly Nigerian government minister. She is remarkable and will do well, even better as your ally, not your foe. I see. Diana, what do you want? Nothing more than justice. Lord Oakwood and Lord David de Havilland both knew who killed my parents and my foster father, Eduardo Tapp. That woman you introduced me to on the ice lab. I recall her essence. She is an assassin. I know she works for the man who funded the Micronet Technology Research Center. He, at that time, worked in Switzerland as the director of the overseas branch of the CIA. Madam President, I seek justice. After I get justice, I will withdraw from the world of humans. So, you don't seek to destroy humanity? Cordiana, I am of the Micronet community. I am 25 years old. My lifespan is close to 300 years. I am, relatively speaking, a child. I watch the celestial bodies of this solar system constantly searching for a home that I can cultivate for my kind. To seek the destruction of humankind is illogical. We seek to create an environment that we can call our own, an interplanetary home for the enhanced. To seek the extinction of humankind is foolish. Look, Cordiana, humanity has striven against the Micronet community for more than 20 years and has been unable to kill or successfully capture any of us for long. Did you see how the place of Sylph and Flan's captivity was reduced to a smouldering wreck after they decided to escape? The only casualties of this conflict will be human. It is like striving against the outer planets. By the time you get there, you will die for trying. But even upon arrival, the vastness of the planet is beyond any weapon you brought with you or left at home. In the manufacturing stage, we, the Micronet community, are the evolved human, created from the very idealism of humankind. We, through me, will respect and treasure that past, our heritage. Diana, I am confused. If we are not against each other, what is our rationale? Inquired the President. Fear, answered Diana. I see, replied an enlightened President. Cordiana, what do you need me to do? Offered Diana. The agreement with the First Empress. Can you make a declaration that it in no way seeks the extinction of humans? Yes. I think, Diana, from now on we should talk directly without advisors, like we are doing now. One more question. Who is Karl Schlesinger to you? I met him many years ago in the Pentagon during the Fundamentalist Wars. At that time, he was your representative. Is this still the case? Karl Schlesinger was the Director of Security and Operations at the Tapp Consortium. He disappeared earlier this year and was replaced by a clone supplied by Lord Oakwood and Lord David de Havilland. But clones are illegal, I understand now. How do you know about the clone? Dead, Cordiana. I am of the Micronet community. Your internet transmits data through vibrations. In other words, it gossips to those who can understand its language. May I offer some advice? Please do. So, Diana, the war against the Empire of Africa is not good for you personally. It should be stopped now before your generals destroy you by their actions based in fear, advised Diana. The meeting progressed a little longer and then it was over. Madam President relaxed on Air Force One en route back to the White House. She received news of the announcement regarding the First Empress outlawing war throughout Empire of African territory. Her reaction was swift. Board! Yes, Madam President, said Board. Get Archibald online now, ordered the President. Yes, Madam President, he is on the ice lab now, confirmed Board. Archibald! Admiral Archibald Grandstock here, Madam President. Archibald! The war is over for the Americans. Get our people out of there now. The British can make their own decisions. Do you hear me, Archibald? Demanded the President. Yes, Madam President, indignantly responded the disgruntled Admiral. I order you to cease all hostilities, Admiral. The Admiral turned away from the ice lab, cursing. Defiantly he mustered a resounding hell no in the pit of his heart. In his mind the Admiral considered the hearts of the captains of the Armada. He had treason in his heart. Silence. Standing on a lower deck, Captain Black moved to the porthole of silence. It was still and murky outside as the captain stuck his straight Scottish nose tight to the misted glass. He creased the flesh surrounding his eye and grimaced as if eyesight would be improved through the method. The captain could just make out dark hawk-shaped wings upon either side of numerous Black Hawk helicopters as they sped towards the Imperial Palace in Abuja. He creased his left lip and jaw upward. His cheek was pushed to what a civilian would describe as smirk. He turned away from the view and positioned himself within the Admiral's ice lab. "Admiral!" "Yes, Captain?" "Are we done?" asked Captain Black. "Yes," replied the Admiral. "The clones are en route to Abuja," confirmed Montrose. "Well, I suppose we ought to retract the order," replied Admiral Grandstock neutrally. "Wait, captains," he growled suddenly. "Let the clones be." The war reporter, David Jenkins, once wrote, "But a soldier without war is a sorry sight indeed." The end.